back at you here in Gloves Off, and today we have a special guest, Rick Romo. How are we doing today?
Thank
You doing good?
Good.
Let's touch base. What's going on, Rick? What's I hear about 2020?
I'm decided to run for a certain position within Webb County that I'm getting ready for it.
Okay, cool. You know, a lot of people don't know that, but Rick has been involved in law enforcement for a very long time. He's one of the few older generation that has kept a straight face with everybody. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Where are you now? Before you were at the DA's office, correct?
Yes, prior to that, my career started back in 1989 with under Sheriff Juan Garza. I started from the bottom. I was a jailer at the detention center, which was way out in the boondocks.
Sure.
And from there, I went to the jail, then became a deputy under Juan Garza, and I got picked up by Mr. Joe Rubio back in 1991, and I was assigned to the DEA task force. I stayed there for approximately about 7 years. Then I decided to go back to my home agency, and there I learned more, which had to do with all different types of crimes and organizations that were going on, and things that would not make me a better man, but a better person within my work ethics and the way I work.
Understood. And you know, that's a good career. And now, where are you at?
Right now, I'm the chief investigator at the Webb County Attorney's Office with Mr. Mark Montemayor.
He's a good man. What do you see? What do you do there? What's the chief investigator's position?
I oversee several investigators that, and I'm several investigators that need to be overseen, and I have to, how can I tell you, assist the attorneys in whatever they need, assist Mr. Montemayor on special investigations that need to be taken care of. Those and I come up with different ideas, things that I've done in the past that can help the office, and not only the office but the community in Laredo better. You know, get better security, better things for the kids. We're the prosecuting attorneys for the juveniles within Webb County.
Right. You all do a lot of those cases.
Yes, a lot of those cases.
And what do you see mostly of? What is the main problem here with our youth? Of course, it's drugs, but what do you?
Well,
okay, what do you think that we're lacking?
If you ask me, my opinion is that kids are kids. They think very different than adults do, of course. I think all these kids really need is somebody to follow them and just make them believe that they are being cared for. Some of these kids have just been abandoned. You know, some parents, you know, some just can't handle them sometimes, and some of these kids, all they need is just a little
Guidance.
and show them that you're there for them, to care for them.
Sure.
You know? That's what these kids need.
I think, you know, and I've talked to Mr. Montemayor, and we've touched base with several of things in the past that, in several others, the past two county attorneys as well, and past sheriffs, and there has to be some kind of preventative thing for children, for kids actually, you know, because there's a lot of parents that both parents are working, the kids are out. And there's not that many programs that we can allow them out in the community for them not to go off the wrong road. Right. Understand? Because
Yes.
it's easy to follow.
Yes.
And you and I both came back. You know, I'm going to talk a little bit about Rick here. A lot of people don't know that Rick was an old kick punch guy back in when the kick punch area was started. You know, we both did Muro Kwan and then Taekwondo, and way back when, and those were the good old times of the tournaments, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But there's no programs for that.
Yes.
There's no programs to get kids off of that.
Yes.
I mean, we have a lot of wasted space, a lot of wasted community centers, a lot of rec centers that are not being used correctly, a lot of gyms. I mean, how many schools do we have in this area that we can open them up after school and get the kids involved in something? and a lot of wasted space and a lot of wasted time. And then all of a sudden, we try to pass blame for something else. And I think we as a community have to take care of our kids.
I think what we need to do is some of these kids have been, I guess, had a rough life.
Sure.
So our responsibility is to go at them and get them and bring them into our life, you know, into a better community standing relationship with these kids that need guidance. You know, you need to go and get them because you know they're not going to come to you.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not going to come to you because to start off with, they're scared of you. They don't know if you're going to mistreat them or whatever. But if you show them that you're there for them and care for them and be there in times of trouble, they'll follow you. They'll follow you anywhere.
No, you're absolutely correct. And we have a lot of people out there that really want to help. They just don't know how to help. I think we as a community have to come in there. Kids have to realize that they're not the first ones that are going to have those problems, and they're not going to be the last ones to have those problems. We all went through all those problems. Sometimes we had bad grades, or we were having trouble in a class, or trouble with a girl, or whatnot, you know, and we have to help them out because, number one, we went through those problems. Okay, some of these, of course, some of these kids might have gone through worse problems, but these problems have always occurred. So we have to snap them back, help them get a little bit positive mindset and a little positive direction, and make them good citizens in society, you know. And if they're having trouble with them, I mean, we should have tutors. I mean, we should have open tutors. If you're having problems with a subject, come to this area, you know. You know, I think that's what a community center is, what a rec center should be.
Exactly.
You know, it says recreation center, but, you know, I think that's what we need, you know, and we're losing that. And then all of a sudden, a kid goes wrong and we start pointing fingers at, what is that? I think we have lost it as a community.
Yeah, we need to reach out to these kids and bring them in. Bring them in and show them that, you know, me as a law enforcement, in law enforcement, I've noticed that usually an officer should be neutral at all time.
Sure.
That is his job, to be neutral. So when he gets to a scene, this officer needs to make a decision on how to treat the person or the victims or both parties, then make a decision on what he should be doing. So some of these kids, you know, they do something wrong, yes, of course, and they have to be taken into custody or whatever. But then look at the whole situation around them, you know. Why are they doing it? What's happening in their lives? And I know it's impossible sometimes because there's hundreds of kids out there that need to be taken care of and taken in and worked with. But I believe that as long as you change one kid's life, he will change another one, and then another one will change another one. And it's a little chain reaction that needs to be done, because that's what works here. One after another, and then the other might get two, get three, get four. So you need to create programs, big programs on helping the youth out and get them back in line.
You know, a lot of things that gets kids off and gets them going into, say, gangs, is that bond,
Yes,
that fraternal bond,
exactly.
that you're part of a family. Maybe they come from families that don't care for them as much as we think that we're caring for our kids. We should be paying attention to them a little bit better. And so they're going to find that care. Okay, a lot of them need to know, guess what, the bully's coming down, and I'm going to hang around with this group of kids because in those numbers, we can take care of that bully. And it really happens, you know. Maybe the bully's not a gangbanger. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, now you have a kid inside a gang. Maybe the kid cannot play football, play band. It's not musical talented. Doesn't have the physical ability. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to go to where there's a little bond, there's a clique. And those cliques are everywhere. So if we're losing it somewhere, we're not showing them loyalty as per se, right? And I guess that's what they're finding, this false sense of loyalty or a different format of loyalty,
Yes, yes.
you know? And we really need to go out there, and I think that's something that
I
in the
believe
future can come of
I,
age.
I ran into this the other day I was watching TV and I saw on TV and it said there, follow your dreams, but then it said start working for your dream,
Sure.
you know, and I'm working for my dream because my dream is to be a candidate, but then again, at the same time, we need to work for these kids' dreams. You know, everybody is a good person. They just need a little guidance.
Sure. Sure. You're absolutely correct. Let's change it a little bit here and go off a thing. What have you learned as a peace officer over the years that has kept you in the good graces of everybody?
Well,
What have you done different?
okay. When I was picked up by Mr. Montemayor, I decided I can't be one of those persons to just sit there and manage to do this, do that. No, my mind is going 24/7.
Sure.
Just constantly thinking of things to better my job. Okay, not myself. I'm fine with who I am. Things to better my job, myself, in my work performance. So I said, okay, what can we do to help the community out with the juveniles? So I decided. I said, okay, let's. First of all, we need to do a juvenile roundup so that we can all bring everybody back in the court system and get them to where they're supposed to be. So I put together a juvenile roundup, which is a history breaking in Laredo Webb County because nobody had ever done it. I gathered.
What is that?
A juvenile roundup is warrants that have been outstanding for a good while, and they were just sitting there. Okay, so I work with the Laredo Police Department, I work with UISD PD, I work with LISD PD, I work with the Sheriff's Office, I work with every entity within the county, all the constables, they helped me out. We all got together. I divided all the arrest warrants that needed to be executed in different sections of Laredo. We made huge teams and we went and executed them. And we did very well. We did very well. That was one of the things that started bringing everything back up to par with these kids going to court, facing their problems, and then try to fix them instead of just fighting them, you know? Another thing I did was I created and executed is called Canine Sweeps. Also, again, we got together with multiple agencies, and including some federal agencies that were there just to assist us on what we needed to be done, which is very rare. Sometimes that federal agencies will help you because they got their own things to do and they're very busy. But I believe that I've had very good relations with all agencies. All agencies. No, I don't pick who I work with. I don't choose who I work with. I work with every and each agency within Laredo Webb County and the United States and Texas.
That's
So
good.
what we did together, we got together and the canine sweeps, the way it works is we get like 10 to 15 dogs depending on how big the school is. And we go in and we execute a complete sweep of the whole school. And I think the longest what we do, we usually go in and it's all legal, it's all very well coordinated, or we always take an attorney from the Webb County Attorney's Office in case some parent needs a little bit of guidance. Why are we doing this, and why we, who gives us the authority? I mean, I check this out, cross your T's and dot your dots,
I's.
the way you're supposed to do all that stuff before we did this execution. So the way we do, we first do a pre-meeting with all the agencies that are gonna help us out. And then the next day, we go ahead and follow up, and we meet where we're supposed to, and then we go ahead and execute the school. We go to the school, the teachers are ready, they assist us, they're the ones that do all the checking, they're the ones that, if they do find something, the officers pull back, because we're not supposed to be doing that. The officer will pull back, the administrator goes in and checks the backpack of whatever needs to be done. And once something is found, then we go ahead and take action after the administrator tells us. And so far, it's worked really good because it shows that we're there for the students and the protection of the teachers also. Because if there is weapons, if there's any kind of narcotics or any illegal contraband within the schools, we're gonna find it.
Sure.
We're gonna find it. We have found them under the buildings. We have found them in backpacks. We have found everywhere, you know, and that gives you a little peace of mind to know. For example, my kids were at school, and I knew I was doing this, so when I would go and do it at their school, you know, well, at least for a couple of weeks or so, I know they're good, you know, and it
Sure.
brings a deterrent to the kids, saying, you know, you don't know when these guys are going to come back, so it makes them think twice before they
Sure.
go ahead and do their illegal
Sure.
things.
Because they're gonna try. They're gonna try to bend the corners and round them off, and they're gonna get in trouble, and we have to be very vigilant and all that. And that's a good program that
Yes,
we
yes,
need,
yes.
you know. And we live in the border. We have a lot of drugs that go through here. We have a huge problem, and every little bit counts to stop that. And all the agencies have to come together.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. We work with
I
everyone.
applaud with all the agencies when they're trying to work together.
Yes.
You know, and not I did this and I did that, and no, it's all work together because number one, it's the same battle that you all are fighting, you know. So, and that's the way it is.
And in the future, when I take over this office, because I am going to take over this office, I do have plans on taking this office to different levels of success
Mhm.
within the community, working with everybody, getting more ideas going for the students, not only for the students, for the elderly, and for your regular person that needs help in every type of way, which is law enforcement. It might be just a little care for them, patrolling the areas, making them feel safe within their community. That's what it should be done. I know it's sometimes not impossible, but almost, because I mean Laredo's so big now, and you know, sometimes some people get caught doing some other things, so there's where the other place gets neglected a little bit. But there's a way always to cover that section, and I'm gonna find it.
Sure. You know, and we have a lot of great peace officers here, you know, and that's we just have to let them shine.
Yes.
And I think a lot of them are not being allowed to shine.
Exactly.
They're being, their badge has to shine. It can't be tarnished.
Yes.
And they're letting it rust, and people need to, guess what? That's what they're there for.
Yes.
Let's use those ideas. Let's move forward, A little bit for the folks out there. We have our Border Indie app. It's up there. You guys can download that. And you guys can hear it if you don't have Facebook. And if you guys have any questions, I know we have a lot of people in here, like Irma Morales, how are you? Jen, how are you? Erica, Poncho Caso, how are you? Jesse, Miss Espinosa, watching from Florida, actually. So we've got good folks. When is your campaign going to really start? We already started,
Yes.
but when is the election? 2020?
2020, March 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. But the reason I'm doing it now is because I've been taught by some of the best.
Sure.
Okay, I've been at this game for a long time. I've been taught by some of the best. If you want it, work for it, and you'll get it.
Sure.
And I'm showing the people now from Webb County, Laredo, and that section that I'm going to be running for, that I want it. And I'm showing them that I want it. And I want it, and I'm going to take it to prove to the community that I can take an office and take it to different levels of success, which I'm going to do. And they will see the difference immediately.
People would see that. The problem that we have is that we get candidates that do not have experience. in their field. And I like to see somebody that is seasoned jump in. Like to see new ideas come on board. People that have a profession to fill in that position.
Yes.
Understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
People that know what they're talking about, and that's what we as a citizen that's going to be on the ballot, and I'm going to be picking. You have to pick who the best choice is. And here in Webb County, unfortunately, with all the talk about voter fraud, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and the suspicion or thereof, we always get stuck with a candidate that people say, man, we didn't vote for them, and they win. So we as citizens have to exercise our right to vote and pick the better candidate, not the person that brought an event, not the person that has a pretty bumper sticker, not the person that did a free dance, not the person that gave you a beer, and that really doesn't count, because in the future, not what it is. So on voter fraud, what do you think's going on with it? Do you think there's actually some shenanigans going on, or an apparent?
Well, I can tell you that can't tell you anything because I don't work there in that area. Not that I'm trying to cover it up or anything like that, but I'm not gonna say anything in a place that I can't tell you if something is going on or something is going wrong.
Right, because it's not what you're covering.
Exactly,
Or, yeah.
Not covering, but not. I don't work there, so I can't really tell you. I have heard a lot that there's voter fraud and this and that, but I have no authority there. If I believe that there is something like that, somebody should do something about it, get in there and clean it up.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. Any way you look at it, if there is or if there isn't, somebody needs to go in there, clean it up, and get really, really very strict with having officers there, or bring in another agency from another place. Bring in the feds if you want to, or bring in whoever you want to. As long as they're there when all this is going on, I don't think nothing will happen.
Understood. What raised a lot of the red flags, and that something is there, because we've always heard it. There's always this occurred here, this occurred there, and everybody would just talk. But then all of a sudden you have the county judge saying, you know what, we have an investigation. We have a senator that's coming in, and A+ for them to sticking up and saying, you know what, let's investigate. Yes. Let's start investigating all these stories and find out if it's really an urban legend or it's really for real. And, that once they started standing up, then people started saying, you know what, maybe it's for real. Maybe something is going on.
I very strongly believe what you're saying, that if there is something, do something about it.
Sure.
Don't just sit back and start saying, okay, let's look at this and that. No. You want something to be done? Do it. Or get somebody to do it that's qualified. Get the best of the best. It might cost you a little bit, but this whole thing will be put to rest once and for all. And then it'll be off everybody's mind. Oh, it was this, it was that. No, it was already checked, it was already cleaned, it was already cleared.
And we can get our voter turnout a little bit better.
Oh, yes.
Because right now the majority of constituents here in Webb County say, why am I going to vote if it's already...
I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the reason why.
Yes, I understand it. A lot of people get disappointed when they start hearing this and that. Instead of having just a bunch of good, positive attitudes, you can go vote and you don't have to worry about it. It's just, like I said, you have doubts, do something about it, and take that doubt out of everybody's mind within Laredo and Webb County. And you'll get a lot more people out there because they know that their vote is being counted the correct way.
Exactly. Let's touch base on the kick punch back then.
Okay. Yeah.
Who were your we got a couple of guys. We got Bert Vickers, a good Gajo Kempo boy from Grand Prairie. His instructor and my instructor were good friends. Peralta, the great Peralta. Oh God, we miss him. And who were your favorite competitors or fighters back then?
Back then, it was one of my idols was Benny Urquidez.
Ah, Benirquez, of course.
Benny Urquidez, he was the world champion, the world champion. He fought everybody, anywhere, any place, if it was for money, if it was for a show, or just for fighting. I mean, he loved it. He loved it. His passion was just way up there. And of course, there's a lot of other ones that come to my mind, which were at our level, at a different level of fighting. Because I mean, and just it was different back then.
Yes.
It was different back then because back then it was, you fight with me and we're gonna fight.
Of course.
We're gonna fight and we're gonna fight until whoever wins. Now it's turned into I guess a little too complicated because there's a bunch of lawsuits that have turned out and people are scared of getting hurt and no, I'm not gonna put my kid there because they're gonna be that's not what this is about. It's also learning. I strongly believe, I'll tell you this much. I strongly believe that if I could, and I will try when I take over this office, if I could, I will try to show some type of discipline to bring it into the school system.
Sure.
Of karate. It
Well,
doesn't matter what type of martial arts, because it's very strong. It makes the kid stronger, believe in himself, and
You know what this gives you, and you compete and you're going to fight in front of somebody else or competing there in the ring and so on and so forth. It's having a word. You know what? Here, you and I are going to be up here. My coach, my trainer's back there. And I have a word that you and I are going to follow these rules. And we're going to hash it out. And whoever wins, wins. And we're going to shake hands. And that respect has been lost.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But talking about greats, to me, Ray McCullum.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the great Ray McCullum, Demetrius Avanis.
Oh, another one. Yes, of course.
And God keep him in a safe place. There was a lot of good people. Yes. There was a lot of good people from Texas that were around, and a lot of them great fighters. And
I believe that.
You had Manuel Lozano from Brownsville, of course, Monroy from Brownsville as well.
Yes.
And we had a lot of good tournaments, a lot of good action back then. It's a lot different now. And of course, there's more rules and regulations that we have to follow. But I still think that we can have that same element. Understand?
Yes. I very strongly believe that, a lot of people say, can my karate this, can my karate that? It's the person that makes the karate. If he loves it 100%, he's going to be 100%. And it doesn't matter if he beat this guy or not. It's what he learned from what he just experienced.
Sure.
Which is going to make him better. Just like me in my job. I mean, I've learned from my experience what to do and what not to do, and how to make myself better.
Sure.
Which I learned that from my back days from martial arts. So the way my mind works is I'm always trying to better myself, my work, because that's the way I was taught.
Yeah, that's
what has been embedded in me. And
and I see it. And I see it in the different sports, and I see it in the. I call martial arts and pugilism in general the solitary sport. Okay, 'cause it's you yourself that's going to go in that ring, and whatever was taught to you, you have to do it. It's not, even though there's a team, a club behind it. Yes, that exists. But it's not a team sport like baseball and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, what I see in baseball, somebody messes up and everybody points a finger that they lost because of that person. No, it's a whole team. The team lost.
Exactly.
Okay? It's a team that lost, not that person. It's a whole team that lost.
Exactly.
So we start, and you start producing a person that points, oh, you lost because of that. So even though you have a team, it's not really a team because you're building other facets, and people might say, Paul, you're wrong or whatnot, and I really don't give two hoots of a shit, but that's what I've seen. Yes. Okay? Somebody messed up and it was his fault. No. And in the ring, if I messed up, it's my fault. Exactly. So I have to, and I'm going to change myself, I'm going to be better. Yes. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yes, yes. And I believe on taking that attitude that, let's say, what you said, that person messes up, the team lost. Okay, you know what? Let's bring that person in. Let's talk to him. Let's better him.
Sure.
Why make it worse? Why make it worse to where that person now is going to feel uncomfortable?
Of course.
No, you take him. You tell him, okay, what happened? Okay, let's work. Let's fix it, and you fix it. You know, it's like for example, if I was working with once I take over this office, if an agency for some reason or other doesn't like me, I'm gonna go talk to them, and I'm gonna fix the problem. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, let's work this out, because we should be working together, not against each other. Because the only ones that suffer are the officers that are out there, that they need their backup when somebody else needs it. So it's gonna be a team. As a matter of fact, it's not gonna be my office.
Sure.
It's gonna be our office, because that's what a lot of people lose that thought that you're working for the people. You're not working for yourself. You know, you're working for yourself to better your job skills and make you a much better worker. But you actually belong to the people because you're working for them.
Sure.
And a lot of people forget about that, you know, forget about where they come from, how they started, and that's what this is not about. It's working together, you know, and that's something that I learned in our karate days, you know, that all that, believe it or not, brings you up with a mindset of believing on what you do.
Sure. And we've had some great peace officers here in Webb County. We had some great lawmen that came of age, and we've had some bad ones as well.
Of course,
you know, but you know, it comes with the territory.
Exactly.
But we have some good badges out there, and folks, we have to support our badges, plain and simple, because they're the ones that are, if something happens, they're the ones that show up first, and they don't care what's going on. They're the ones that are gonna stand up.
Where I saw that and really, really impressed me, and I would like for the people to listen to this, is when the shooting took place in Dallas, I think, or when they were marching. What was it, Dallas or San Antonio?
And what shooting?
Where the guy shot like 4 or 5 officers.
Sure, in Dallas.
Okay, in Dallas. Look at the video where they're all marching, and then all of a sudden the person starts shooting. Everybody is running back except for the officer. He's going forward. You know, he's going forward. He is trained to lose his life if he has to protect you. And some people forget about that. You know, when there's a domestic violence problem, which is a very heated situation, an officer gets there to help you out, not to arrest you or to do it. He's there to help you out, and he's getting into your life business because you need help, you know, and people don't understand that. You're here to arrest me. No, he's trying to help you out, you know.
You know what? One thing I tell this, and I'm going to say it here. I see video after video, and it's always the latter part of the video where the person is resisting an arrest and he gets beaten up. Can we have bad badges do that? Yes. But folks, there's a lot of good officers that escalates into that. And we all have to teach our children, and we all have to remind ourselves of one word, and it's called comply. You comply. An officer stops you, you say, yes, sir, no, ma'am. Don't start arguing. You know, they might have a bad day. Don't argue with them. If you're being oppressed under the color of law, which can happen, then you deal with it afterward. Don't try to do it there.
Exactly.
Okay? Do not try to do it there.
The thing is that the way I handle my office, everybody is a different person. All the
Sure.
investigators. Some do this, but he's giving me 100% of it. So I don't know if that person has had something going on at his house, or has had a bad day, or has a headache, things like that, you know. You have to treat each individual different and understand, or try to understand at least, what he's going through, and as long as it doesn't continue and continue and continue within the work environment, okay, let him have his day. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. The next day he'll come back. You know what? Thank you.
Sure.
And that's the way you gain their trust, by, you know, by believing in them and telling them it's okay to be, you have a bad day, you know. We're all humans. You have a bad day, just make sure that the next day you're here at 100% and we'll go forward. You know, that's life. That's what makes a good supervisor separate from the bad supervisor that are constantly on you. Why you're like this? No, that's what this is not all about. You have to know your employees, work with your employees, and see everything around them. Everything, their life, their marriage, their physique, if they're ill, if they have a bad day, and work with what you have. See, and that was one thing I learned from the back days also, that you read your opponent. How is he acting?
Sure.
You know, what are his little falses? Back then, of course, you would take them against him, but here I have learned that to turn it around and use it for him.
Of course.
You know.
Of course, those are great observations, great points. And anything else you'd like to tell the public out there?
Well, yes, I do plan on taking this office to different levels of success. I mean, just, you will notice them immediately. You will see my work. You can see my work, if you like, at our office, at the Webb County Attorney's Office with Mr. Mark Montemayor, the county attorney. He is a good job. He is a good boss. He has let me work the way I wanted to work, and prove to him and the public that, you know, things need to be done. You just can't sit there and let everything just run. No, you constantly have to be doing better things to better your work ethic, better your work within yourself. You know, I'm proud as that what I am, a man, and I'm happy with myself. Now I just need to prove and show the public that I want to give back my 28, 29 years of experience and everything that I've been holding back inside of me that I want to do. Ideas, make that department into a huge department, and bring everybody together. Man, I have some ideas that are just incredible, and I've been holding back on them. I want to make that place, like I said, take it to real big levels, good levels of success.
Well, we wish you the best in all your endeavors, and it's good to have you still leading in law enforcement.
Thank you, sir.
And especially in your position that you're at in the county attorneys. And thank you for coming out.
Thank you, sir.
And the best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
And folks, you guys be safe. And this weekend, it's Father's Day. And hug your kids. That's the reason why we're here. All right? Until next time. Peace.